Hello my Stampin' friends, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky DIY, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba, Canada. Today we are creating a fun fold card. It's the never ending card. I'm doing a little bit of a different technique with our sentiments today, and we're using framed florets and charming sentiments as our stamp set. Now you might be wondering why I've got my trimmer on our desk, my desk. I am going to show you some measuring because some of these require eighths. It's a little bit finicky for measuring, and I'll also link to a tutorial in the description that I've done earlier as well. So on your paper trimmer, this is the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. There's a series of lines for the inches. There's 16ths, eighths, quarter, and a half. So the 16ths are the ones that are the closest together. The 16ths are the shortest. The second longest are the eighths. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The longer, there's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 are the quarters, and then the longest is the half. I've been doing this for a while. I still, if I'm measuring 3/8, line up my paper and go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and count it out loud so that I know that I'm hitting the right mark. All right, we're gonna get started. This card might look like it's a little bit challenging, but I promise you it's not. Once you've done it once or twice, you'll get it fairly quickly. I've made these cards with pretty much every age group, and I even did it with a group of about 15 students at our school's before and after program. All right, so I've got our pile of stuff here. I am using Dainty Flowers, which is free during Celebration 2022. Nope, 2023. Every once in a while, still in the new year, I'll do that. So we've got some strips that we need to have cut. We need 4 at 1 1/8 by 1 3/4, 4 at 3/4 by 1 1/4, and 4 at 7/8 by 2 1/4. And also some designer series paper, 2 1/2 by 1 3/4. So you are going to take your 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheet of cardstock. You can use whatever color that you have, whatever color that you like. And on this one, you're going to grab your scoring tool, whichever one you have, whichever one you prefer, and you're going to measure it at 1 1/16 and score both. Then you're going to turn it and cut it at 2 3/4, and then just set it off to the side. For your other sheet, you're going to turn it this way in your trimmer, and you're going to score it at 1 3/8, 1 3/8, and then you're going to turn it and cut it at 2 1/8. So you can use any size of paper that you want with this, but you do want to make sure that however you're doing it, you're cutting it so that all of the sides are equal. So if you were going to do a square and do 6 by 6, you would want to have it cut in half at 3, cut in half at 3, and then score it so that it folds open. All right, so we're going to burnish our score lines. I like to do it before I put it together. And you'll also need a pair of scissors for this. It doesn't matter, it doesn't seem to matter how carefully you score and cut and burnish. There's usually a tiny little bit of trimming required. Now I'm burnishing it both ways because the card is going to move, and I want to make sure that it's not going to get stuck. I've done several different sizes of this. We had a milestone birthday for one of my coworkers once, and I made her a 12 by 12 as well. It was a lot of fun to do one that big. Okay, so we've got all of our score lines burnished. Now what we're going to do is take these two pieces and we're going to put our adhesive on them. So I'm going to do it this way. And you just want to have the adhesive so that it is going about an inch. Oh, come on. There we go. If you happen to go over a little bit, you can get rid of it with an adhesive eraser or just a white eraser. You can also just rub it off with your fingers. Okay. I prefer tape with this just because sometimes I'm a little heavy-handed with the liquid glue and I don't want it to run. So what you're going to do is take one of your pieces and line it up corner to corner, edge to edge, and press. Then, to make sure that this one's going to be square, I like to take it, line up the score line. Oops. Make sure that it's straight and flat, and then adhere. So then this will be square. So then all you're going to do is take your other piece, butt it up, and then adhere it. All right, so before we start decorating, we're going to do a test. So we're going to fold and make sure that it opens, not catching on anything. Fold and fold, make sure that it doesn't catch on anything. And then fold. Oops, okay, it caught there a little bit. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim this little flag piece that's sticking out a bit. Okay, and then we're going to test it again. So flip, flip, flip. You want to make sure that it doesn't get hung up so that your recipient doesn't get frustrated with it. And then when you're done, it will flip back to front, back to the front. Now we're going to decorate. So we've got our designer series paper. All of these are cut at 2.5 by 1 3/4. And we're just going to simply put all of these on the larger pieces. I like to do it this way because it's a little bit easier to keep track of what goes where. And the smaller pieces can be a little bit tricky just based on how the card folds. Now, you don't have to put designer series paper on all of the large panels. You can absolutely go ahead and stamp it, color it, decorate it however you want. My only caution is when you're doing this fold, you don't really want to have larger embellishments. Flat ones, like the flat matte dots, would probably be okay. But when you have something that adds a little bulk, it might not fold the same way and it might get hung up. Now, this is a great way to use up some of your designer series paper. And if you have a stash built up, first of all, I would invite you to join my email list. I've got a tutorial bundle that I am offering when you sign up. Also, at almost the end of February, a couple of friends and I are doing a Use Your Stash stamping retreat, and we've got all kinds of fun ideas for you to use up what you have and what you love. So I do hope that you'll pop on over to my website. It's linked below so that you can check it out. All right, there's our last piece. Now this does fit in a regular Stampin' Up! Envelope as well, either the medium basic white or the clear envelopes. So back to the front. Now we're going to need, we're going to need 4 strips at 1 1/8 by 1 3/4. Got those right here. I'm doing a different pattern for this one. And then we're just going to add our adhesive. Taping and cutting is the longest part of this project. And then you might not want to give it away because it's so much fun to play with. I prefer non-directional patterns for these cards just because I don't want to have to worry about something as the recipient is flipping. I don't really want to have to worry about it not turning out the way that they want. Now, section 2, we're going to leave the corners blank. You can stamp, or if you want to, you can absolutely go ahead and cut pieces for that. If you do, you would want them to be about 1 1/8 by, or sorry, 1/8 of an inch by 1 1/8. So 1/8 of an inch by 1 1/8. We're going to flip this guy, and then these ones are 3/4 of an inch by 1 1/4 inch. It's a little tedious watching somebody tape. All right, so we're going to stick it down. And then again, if you want, you can use the smaller pieces. You don't have to. And then we're going to do 4 strips that are 7/8 of an inch by 2 1/2. Oh, I just noticed another little bit that needs to be trimmed. If you'd prefer to use your trimmer for this part, you can do that as well. All right. So there's all of our pieces done. Now we're going to decorate. So as we're flipping, you can see that each piece looks a little bit different. And some of the pieces that we've got, like this one, when you flip it, it'll become part of another page. So much fun to play with this. All right, get back to the beginning, and it will always fold back to where it is naturally wanting to go. So we're going to grab another sheet of balmy blue and just set that over onto the side for now. Grab a stamp block. And I'm just going to stamp random. This one I'm going to pay a little bit more attention because I want this one to be my opening sentiment. And then the rest, there we go, that's a little bit better. Oh, I'm not going to use because. I don't think I'm going to use because. And our last one, photopolymer, sometimes likes to stick. Okay. Oh, I've got one more here. So I'm going to show you a few different ways that the stamps can be used. So for a special person, special day, we're going to use the rectangle postage stamp. And then we're going to use the rest on the inside. Now, when you're applying your sentiments in that, you want to make sure that they're not going to block any of the folding lines or score lines, because they won't fold. So for a special person on a special day, this would be a really fun Valentine for a little one. Okay, so sometimes you want to punch and sometimes you just want to cut. So for this one, we're just going to cut. This isn't a technique that I use a ton. Now, once upon a time, people would cut apart their stamps if there was a certain way that they wanted it to be and it wasn't that way. It wasn't uncommon for people to just chop up the stamps. Doing it this way is a little bit more friendly. I feel really bad ever cutting out or cutting apart stamps. I think I've only ever done it once. And I felt guilty about it. So this is a much better way of getting what you want out of your stamp. Okay, so there's our first page. There's our second. Now you can use adhesive tape like I am, or if you prefer, you can use the dots or even adhesive sheets. So you are a blessing. And for the next one, now I don't have a stamp close at hand. I don't think I do anyway, that has the word love. Let's take a look and see what's in our bag of tricks over here. Now you can always dig for what you've got, or through what you've got to see if you have something that'll work. Oh, I do have a love. Now this love is from Party Pandas, which is an old stamp set. It's from Celebration. I don't even know, it doesn't have the year on it, but I love pandas. So that one is never leaving my stash. So we're just going to stamp up the love you. And really, if you have it, you got it for a reason. You must love it for a reason. So you might as well use it. So we're just going to do a quick little messy cut from Love You. This isn't going to be pretty or fancy by any stretch of the imagination. For me, it's easier to cut when it's apart. So we're just going to trim. And then you can be as fussy with when you're cutting out the letters or the sentiments as you want to be. If you have alphabet dies, you can use those as well. Really, the possibilities are absolutely endless when you're creating. And the beauty of it is there's no right or wrong. It's your project, it's your creation. Whatever direction you choose to go into is absolutely right. Okay, you are a blessing. And we're going to do love you at the top. With all my heart is going to be on the lower part of the card. I don't know, this is a very technique heavy one today. And then our second last page, we're just going to do Beyond Grateful, I think. Or maybe thank you. Let's see. For a special person on a special day, you are a blessing. Oh, actually, we're going to move this up so that it's not seen when we flip it. So then, for a special person, you are a blessing. We're going to move love you down a little. With all my heart. And then we'll do Beyond Grateful and see if we can find a for you somewhere in our stash. If not, we can always handwrite it. Or you can generate a sentiment on your computer quickly and easily as well. I'm going to round this a little. Sharp line's a little harsh. I did have a just for you. Let's see if I... The hard part with the clear stamps is sometimes they're hard to see, so they go missing very quickly. Now I do have a for you or a just for you stamp, but it is evading my sight at the moment. So I will finish this card off in a little bit. It's funny, when you're looking for a precise word or a phrase, you can't seem to find it when you want it. And that's a background stamp, so that's not going to be on there. One more stamp set to look at with you. You would think that 4 love you. You know what? Maybe we'll change it a little bit. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. We're just going to do There's No One Like You. So sometimes you change track partway through. And that's not unusual in this craft room. And actually, I You're a blessing. Love you with all my heart. There's no one like you. We're just going to stamp that right on there. Make sure it's right side up. That was weird. All right, craft room gremlins at their finest. There's no one like you. Straight down, straight up. And there's our card finished. Now we can have a bit of a play. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit today. I truly appreciate your time. And as always, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to either comment your question down below. I do read all of the comments, or you can pop me an email or a Facebook message. Thank you for spending some of your day with me today. I'll see you again soon.